We're here today to recognize several members of our Foreign Service family who've gone above and beyond their everyday responsibilities. They've taken their work outside the formal meeting rooms and walls of the embassies and consulates and embraced their host communities as their own. They represent the very best of the American values of public and community service and have transformed the lives of many around them. All of our winners have done truly extraordinary work, and I want to take this opportunity to personally commend each of you. I'm deeply impressed by your accomplishments. You are remarkable ambassadors of goodwill and represent the best of what America can do abroad. Let me talk briefly about each of the colleagues we're honoring today. When Karl Derringer first visited the Rwandan village of Buiza, he knew that nothing else he would do in Rwanda would be as important as his work in this small village. Karl was enchanted by the rich, irrepressible spirits of the village's 170 residents, but heartbroken by their poverty and susceptibility to sickness and disease. Karl resolved to help. Visiting Buiza weekly for nearly 3 years, Karl worked to install a rainwater collection system to replenish the village's scarce water supply and oversaw projects to plant crops and raise rabbits so that the village would be food secure. Cassie Bren noticed that young people in Hanoi were eager to speak English and learn about American culture from a typical American. So Cassie started a program of conversation hours at the American Center of Hanoi, bringing over 100 Vietnamese together to talk to each other in English about life in America. Cassie's conversation hours covered topics as diverse as Neil Armstrong and the Tooth Fairy, and more serious topics like living with disabilities and overcoming other challenges. Outside the center, Cassie the teacher became Cassie the student, learning from her new Vietnamese friends how to navigate the crowded streets of Hanoi and travel like the locals. Soon after her arrival in Macedonia, Elizabeth Schaefer found that Macedonian children with autism had few options for organized care. There were no integrated daycares and no early diagnostic or treatment centers in the entire country. This all changed almost single-handedly thanks to Elizabeth, who became a voice for those who could not easily communicate their own needs. Elizabeth, ever the cheerful and relentless campaigner for the interests of children, led the charge to found a Macedonian NGO focused on special needs children. She elicited the help of Macedonia's First Lady to improve public awareness about autism and to raise funds to open centers that specialized in care for children with autism. Jan Cote Cartwright has made the art of practicing compassion a rule to live by. While posted in Tel Aviv, Jan transformed the lives of dozens of victims of human trafficking by helping to collect household items like food, clothes, and cleaning supplies for those residing in shelters across Israel. Motivated to do more, Jan recognized that unless these young women had other stable sources of support, they would remain vulnerable to abuse. So Jan put her problem-solving skills to good use and won a grant to found sewing centers in victim shelters so that residents could generate their own incomes and eventually get back on their feet. Dr. Chuck Wright is a regional medical officer who decided that he wanted to make his talents available outside embassy walls. Inspired by his wife Ellen, a 2001 SOSA honoree, Chuck took his medical expertise into urban New Delhi, where he mentored a high school medical club and taught local doctors disaster relief. Although he didn't have much equipment or many supplies to work with, Chuck not only made things work, he made things fun too. Basic medical procedures were practiced on oranges, and embassy officers standing in as disaster victims were covered in ketchup-stained bandages to simulate profuse bleeding. His methods were unorthodox, but the results are long-lasting, and today, hundreds of young people in urban Delhi are better off because of Chuck. Amy Zimmerman left an indelible impression on the people of Brasilia through her work with the region's most disadvantaged, its orphaned children. Amy saw young people with enormous potential who just weren't being given a chance. So she did her best to give them one. Working with a school for disadvantaged children and orphans, Amy recruited 40 volunteers from 5 different countries to help teach reading, arts, music, and sports. She made sure her students had a solid meal every day and worked to establish a library inside the school. Leaving no detail unattended, Amy put together a sustainable fundraising plan for the future, ensuring that when she departed Brazil, Project Teach would not depart with her. Finally, saying once again that Secretary Clinton and I admire all of you deeply and are very thankful for all that you have done. The impact that you've had on the department and on the world in which all of us serve is deep and enduring. You inspire all of us to go above and beyond the normal call of duty, and I'm very proud to serve alongside you. Thank you very much.
I've heard a quote that says, dream big and you'll grow into it. However, I was kind of amazed how last night we all had similar stories where we had small dreams and they just kind of grew with us. And we just had that courage to take that first step, and it took us all on, I think it's fair to say, one of the most amazing journeys of our lives. For me, I had no idea that my desire to get involved once or twice a month at an orphanage would lead to weekly visits at their school, even though it was an hour outside of town, that it would involve, now it's up to 47 different people have gone out there at least once and had that humbling experience of being involved with these cute kids. We've given 600 hours of service and 1,000 pounds of produce, or 3,000 pounds of produce and 1,000 pounds of meat. And it just keeps rolling, and all of you have similar stories, or you just take that step and it just, you just keep rolling with it. And this is our first post in Brasilia, so we have a full career ahead of us, and I'm so looking forward to the amazing journeys that lie ahead as I continue with my dream to just make a difference in my community. Thank you for your inspiration, and thank you all.
Amy, it's a special treat to be able to salute a fellow musician. I've chosen for you a song by John Duke on a poem by Eleanor Wiley, which I think the words express how all those children feel deep in their hearts about you and your voice and the music that you brought that lit up their lives. The cherry on top of this particular song choice is that the composer dedicated it to the famous Brazilian soprano Bidu Sayão, but I'm dedicating it to you. It's called The Bird.
Oh, clear and blue.